Okay. Today, I'm talking about how to save time and money while crafting. And this is a little difficult for me to get out. So if this makes sense to you and you think I conveyed some good information here, please leave it in the comments. So a lot of things in this game seem really straightforward when you start it, right? So like when you look at skills, like you'll probably level up your skills a lot. For example, you're gathering here, you get up really easily just by gathering anything you get, anything you see around the world. You gain your refining just by taking those things home and refining. Now, the thing that it actually gets complicated is the crafting section, because in the crafting section, you start to have a whole lot of options on how you're going to use the resources you gather. So as you can see, I have a lot of skills that aren't level 200 but are pretty high levels. And no matter which one I train, I've been seeing the same exact pattern. And part of that pattern is that at level 100 to 150 can be some of the worst grind that takes so long. And 150 to 200 can also be just so bad, depending on the skill. Arcana kind of turns up at 150, but sucks all the way to 150. So the gathering feels really good. You level up super quick. Refining doesn't feel bad. It's the crafting where you realize how many of these refining resources you're actually going to need to level any of these crafting skills. And so when you look at how many resources you're going to be needing, and how much time or money that's going to take, what you're making to level up in each of these skills is going to be super important. And so what I'm going to be showing you is going to apply to every crafting skill, but in this video I'm going to use armoring as an example because it's just what I've been doing most recently. So just to give you guys an idea of how many resources you're going to need, I've made this little visual aid to kind of help you just visualize how much of our base resources, to help you visualize how many resources we're actually going to need. So as you can see here, 4 iron ore make an iron bar. We're going to need, just to make a single steel bar, we're going to need 3 iron bars, which is 12 iron ore. And I'm not going to do the math for all of these, but you can see how making a single Starmetal bar takes a whole lot. And then orichalcum, that's a lot of iron, right? And not only that, but if you're using these in a crafting recipe, some of your lowest values of bars you're going to need are going to be like 4. So you can multiply all this iron ore by 4 for every single item you're going to be crafting with that orichalcum bar. Now, from a buyer's perspective, this is going to be a nightmare because although iron ore is like super cheap, you're going to need an incredible amount of it if you want to make your own orichalcum bars. Now, a lot of people might decide just to buy the bars, and so the prices are going to be out of whack because our population is so low, but the relation to related items is going to hold true no matter what server you're on. And I'll kind of explain what I mean right now. So let's say you want to make orichalcum bars, right? You'll see the cheapest you see here is 17. Because we're a low pop server, it's probably more expensive than your server, and we probably have a lower amount of availability here. So to figure out why this costs 17 gold for a single ingot, this kind of helps you understand. Because one thing I didn't list is the Starmetal ore that you need for Starmetal and the orichalcum ore you're going to need for the orichalcum bar. But the iron ore actually makes up a big percentage of all of these bars and what their values actually are. So you would assume like it's an orichalcum bar, orichalcum ore must be expensive. But orichalcum ore is only 30 cents. So you figure, okay, I guess you need Starmetal ingots. So you look at Starmetal ingots, you see those are worth 740. Well, I guess Starmetal ore must cost a lot. But no, Starmetal ore costs 30 cents. So when you look at these trade prices, if you were to look at every individual item that's required, you would realize that when it comes to getting an orichalcum ingot in this trading post, about like 60% of the value of these are going to actually be coming from the iron ore or the iron bars that you're going to be using. So you look at the bottom here, you can see all the crafting materials. So if you were to work out these prices and look at all of the components that make up each of these bars and all the crafting materials, you'll actually find that it's the iron ore or the iron bars that make up the prices of like all of these higher tier ingots. Another percentage of that overall price is going to be the type of flux you use, which you can assume that most people who are selling are probably using obsidian flux. And then the charcoal and all that. So again, from a buyer's perspective, it just seems like it's going to be really expensive. I mean, 17 for an iron ingot to get 4 of them is going to cost you 71. And also keep in mind that when we're looking at bars, we're looking at turning them into gauntlets. So in case you didn't know, for armoring, iron plate gauntlets are your best bet all the way up until level 50. And then steel plate gauntlets get introduced, and then Starmetal, and then orichalcum. Regardless of the type of gauntlet you're going to be crafting, you're going to need 4 of that bar in order to actually make 1. So whenever you're looking at the prices for whatever ingot you plan to make, you always got to at least multiply by 4 for a single item. And if you're thinking like you want to make 400 gauntlets, you're going to be paying well over 6K in just the bars in order to actually make 100 gauntlets. So from a buyer's perspective, this may just seem all out of whack or just super expensive for you to level up. And there's really no way you can get around it if you're looking to buy your levels. Now, from a gatherer's perspective, though, I do see an opportunity for you to make a lot more gold out of spending a lot less money. And so I'll refer you to the grid I made here, right? Obviously, super simplified, but here's the way I see it, okay? Let me move my camera over. The way I see it, you start with 4 iron ore, and you get 20% iron ore when you make it into a bar, okay? The way I see it, this is 20% value on any amount of iron that you gather yourself. If we talk about making steel bars, using obsidian flux gives us 93% more value on the same amount of iron ore. Again, when we go to Starmetal, using obsidian flux, we're gaining another 40% value out of the same iron ore that we mined before. And then again, 13% value out of the same iron ore. I'm not sure exactly how much iron I can mine in an hour, but if I mined iron for a straight hour, I would feel like I'm getting a lot more value if I'm able to turn all of my iron into orichalcum, because the value has gone up tremendously in the amount of iron that I'm actually essentially gaining through the increase in yield for each refinement. And that same increase in efficiency shows here. This is Blackout Gaming. I watched his YouTube video, and he put out a little spreadsheet. If he were to get 5,000 iron ore and turn it into 1,500 ingots, which includes the 20% increase in yield, if he were to spend all of that iron ore on making the gauntlets like I showed you guys, he would get 40,500 experience. But if he took that same 1,500 iron ingots into steel bars, all of a sudden he would have 965 steel bars, and making them all into gauntlets, he would have 65,000 experience. So even with less total bars, he would gain 25,000 more armoring experience out of utilizing the steel bars than the iron bars. And then he does the same math, taking the same steel bars into Starmetal, he would have 113,000. So that's almost triple what you would have gotten out of making the same amount of iron bars into iron gauntlets. And then orichalcum at 132,000 out of the same starting 5,000 iron ore. So the two things that are important is about 50% of the value of your ingot is going to come from iron, which I tried to visualize to you guys by showing this, how much iron ore it would take to make one orichalcum bar. And that you're getting more than 3 times the experience within the same amount of iron ore by utilizing orichalcum ingots. And remember, it didn't matter that it had to be orichalcum. Every single level of refinement is going to give you more experience for the same amount of iron. And that doesn't even account for how long it takes to actually make 300 of the same item. As you could see here, 300 items. You can craft faster by like spam pressing your spacebar or your mouse click. But if you don't do that, it's so slow, and you're actually saving a ton of time by not needing to make 5,000 iron rapiers instead of just making the highest one you can make. So that's definitely something that is part of the overall efficiency. How much time / money are you really saving when you're spending so much time making thousands of iron weapons or iron armor? And so it brings me to what I did. You know, I was watching Shroud. I enjoy watching Shroud. And the difference between Shroud and me is that I don't have a team of people or a mob of people donating me resources and monies. So I really want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. And after making 300 iron gauntlets to get from like level 110 armoring to like 115, I realized that that couldn't be the right way. But yesterday, I tried what I'm about to tell you. Blackout Gaming went over it a little bit in his video too. Is I went out, right? If you use a New World interactive map or a resource map, you'll see that there's a ton of iron around the world. And I can get 5,000, 6,000 iron ore really fast. Okay, so I did that. I got like, I don't know. I don't remember exactly how much I got, but instead of turning it all into iron gauntlets to literally get maybe 2 or 3 levels. So what I did was I started the day off with some chest farming, right? I did some Morningdale chest runs. Maybe I'll make a video on it if you guys want, or some different chest runs. I did some elite chest runs the night before, and I made sure I had a bunch of flux. I took the iron bars, I turned them into steel bars. Then I went to the trading post and I bought Starmetal ore for 50 cents. I bought like, I don't know, I probably bought like, I don't remember how much I bought. I probably bought something like 1,500. I just did the math, how many steel bars I had, and I knew that for each steel bar, I'll tell you right now, I knew that I needed 3 times as much Starmetal ore than I did have steel ingots. I remember I ended up with about 700 steel ingots, and so I bought 6 times that amount in Starmetal ore. So let's just do the math so I could show you guys. Let's see, it was about 700 steel bars, and we need 3 times as much ore. So it was 2,100 Starmetal ore. And the Starmetal ore, you could see, one of the things I do when I buy out things is I'll leave it at 1 so that the price stays at 0.3. So if the next guy isn't paying attention, he'll just post his at 0.29 and we can keep cheap prices. So I know that this was me because this was me yesterday who brought it down to 1. So we have 2,100 times, you could see the most expensive one I bought was 0.40. Actually, I did buy a little bit of the 50-cent one, but let's do times 0.40. So I spent 840 gold. So I had all my Starmetal bars, and then I went to Cutlass Keys, right? I know that I needed the same amount of Starmetal bars as leather. So I got 4 times the amount of leather plus an extra 25% to cover for salvaging, because once you salvage your Starmetal gauntlets, you'll get 1 to 2 Starmetal bars back. So I got 20% more leather so that once I salvage the gauntlets, I would be able to turn them into more gauntlets with the Starmetal bars I get back. And then I went to Windsward and I used this area right here, and it was really easy. You know, you get the linen super fast for this. And I went and I made about 180 Starmetal gauntlets, which brought me to like 147 or 148 armoring. And then I salvaged them, redid it, got to 150, stopped right there. So it was literally off of a single run of iron, I was able to get from like 120 or 130 armoring all the way up to 150. I'm sorry I don't remember the numbers exactly correctly, but basically one iron run got me the armoring I needed, whereas I had did like 4 iron runs of that amount of iron just to get from like, I don't know, like 90 to 105 or like 110 or something. So I got to 166 just by utilizing some like infused silk that I was able to make once I got to 150. But now that I'm at 150, I'll do the same thing for orichalcum gauntlets. But the difference is that when it comes to the highest level, like ironwood, for example, you're going to want to chop ironwood just to get the rare resources. Which, if you don't know, like for ironwood, I want to get wildwood and barbed vine so that I can be able to make glittering ebony, right? You see glittering ebony right here. You need wildwood and barbed vine in order to make glittering ebony, which is a rare resource that I'll only be able to make 10 a day. So I just wanted to stockpile before I got there. So I'm already going to have a ton of ironwood anyways. So when it comes to making ironwood bows, for example, it's really not, I really don't have to factor in the price of the ironwood. And the same thing goes for orichalcum. I don't have to factor in the price of orichalcum because I already have a bunch of leftover orichalcum farming for the osmodium, for the tovium and cinnabar that you get from mining orichalcum veins. So the only big part of my own money that has to go into this is really the tier 4 resources. So really the only thing we have to really pay for is Starmetal. When it comes to logging, Weirdwood is one of the cheapest resources because the Dryad Wolves are too strong for logging XP. You get a ton of Weirdwood. So like if you were to look, Weirdwood is like 5 cents each. You can see 8 cents, there's thousands of them. So Weirdwood literally costs nothing. So when it comes to like getting your engineering up using like ironwood bows, you only really need to worry about getting the lumber yourself. because I mean you'll probably either have a ton of weird wood yourself or you'll be able to buy it for 5 cents each, and you'll have a bunch of ironwood because you're getting the rare resource. When it comes to weaponsmithing, armoring, even arcana, if you want to make staves, anything where you can make metal, anything where you can make metal gear, you're only really paying for the Starmetal because you'll have tons of orichalcum just from trying to get the rare resource, and you only have to worry about getting the iron yourself. And if you want to use weaving to make like light gear, for example, to level up armoring, you only have to worry about getting the fiber yourself, and then you'll have a ton of wire fiber left over from getting rare resources, so you probably will only have to think about buying silk threads. Even though you can get those really fast, you might not even have to buy those. So my plan now is just to utilize this little trick so that I can maximize my efficiency of like so I can maximize my efficiency of what I'm actually going out there and grinding for resources versus what I'm just going to buy off of the marketplace to get the highest like cost XP value. And I'm also going to be looking into furnishing, because furnishing is super complicated because there's recipes that you have to find throughout the world and recipes that you don't unlock until you have the resource in your pocket. But I'll definitely be looking at like some of the things that utilize star metal or orichalcum that give a lot more XP, but other people haven't thought are really worth it. Because same type of thing, they're telling you to make a bunch of like level 50 or level 0 recipes, and that's why it's taking so long and taking so many refining reagents. So once I actually get 200 in some of these crafting skills, I might actually make a guide at that point telling you guys specifically what I made for all of my levels. But right now, I want you guys to leave a comment. Let me know if this helped you out. Let me know if this was easy to understand, because it definitely took me a long time to put it together. Even though it's pretty simple, to actually show it with all of the percentages that go into it and all of the things that you have to account for, like just the economy, how quickly you can gather things, the different items that you can choose to make. It's a lot to squeeze into like one concise thing that applies to all of the crafting skills. So let me know if this helped you, and let me know if you have any other tricks, maybe some things for jewel crafting or furnishing or weaponsmithing that you've already experimented with. And yeah, I hope you enjoy.